Hi, I'm Andrea from Spring Creek Prairie Audubon Center.
And I'm Jamie, and I'm from Piners Park Nature Center.
We heard that you guys are going to be learning about very special Nebraska habitats called prairies.
Andrea and I just happened to work at a couple of those prairies. And so as you learn about them, we're going to be your prairie pals.
In this video, we're going to learn about what a prairie is, the different kinds of prairies in Nebraska, and why they're important.
Andrea and I love exploring prairies, so you'll see us in a few other videos. We're going to learn about prairie plants, look for evidence of prairie wildlife. We'll even learn about people in the prairie, people from the past, and how people live on the prairie today and help take care of it.
Are you ready? Let's go! What do you think of when you hear the word prairie? Jamie, how about you?
Yeah, Andrea, I was going to say, I think of grass far as the eye can see. Some people even say it looks like a sea of grass. There's also tons of other plants, wildflowers, beautiful color that pops up around the prairie. Andrea, how about you?
Wide open spaces. There are very few trees. Few trees means big open places. I also think of the animals and insects that live on a prairie. Some of them are so well adapted that you won't find them living anywhere else.
So a prairie is wide open spaces, tons of grass, beautiful wildflowers and other plants, and insects, birds, and animals that are adapted to living in these wide open spaces called prairies. That's super cool.
Did you know that there are different kinds of prairies? Nebraska actually has 4 different kinds.
That's right. And what makes them different is the grasses that grow there. All this grass around us here, how would you describe this prairie? Tall grass, right? And that's what it's called. We're here at Spring Creek Prairie Audubon Center in the tall grass prairie. I work at a prairie called Piners Park Nature Center. It's also a tall grass prairie. So in a tall grass prairie, the grasses are able to grow because they get lots of water. So here on the eastern side of the state, we get about 30 inches of rain a year, and that allows the plants to grow a little bit taller than in other areas of the state.
And clear over on the other side of the state, way out west, where they only get about 15 inches of rain a year, the prairie plants, the grasses and flowers are very different. They don't grow very tall. So what might you call that prairie? How about short grass?
And then in the middle, where the tall grass prairie and the short grass prairie merge, we have the mixed grass prairie. Nebraska has another unique ecosystem called the sandhills. The sandhills were formed by wind blowing over the open space and moving sand into big, huge piles. That's where they get their name, the sandhills. There are certain plant species that grow on these hills, stabilizing the dunes so they don't blow away. Some of those plants don't grow in any of the other prairies in Nebraska. There are special grasses called sandhill muley grass, and the blowout penstemon is a beautiful flower, only found in the sandhills here in Nebraska.
So we basically know what a prairie is and that there are different types. But so what? Are prairies really all that important? Prairies are special habitats that are very well adapted to the climate and the soil types found in the middle part of the country. Only about 200 years ago, the whole middle section of the United States and up into Canada even was covered with prairies. These places were also filled with unique plants and animals that were only found on prairies.
Today, we have less than 4% of the prairie left. Think about it this way. If your whole hand is the center of the United States, and that once was all prairie, but today, what we have left is only about the size of your pinky finger. That's not a lot of prairie. So where did it go? What do you guys think happens? Well, for one, we have the communities where you and I live, and our homes and our roads and stores where we all go shopping. We also have farms where we get our food. So the land has really changed a lot in the last few hundred years. So even though we don't have a lot of prairie left, they're still really important. Prairies help prevent erosion, they filter air, they filter water. They also provide habitat for hundreds of animals, thousands of plants, and millions of insects. Prairies are worth protecting.
Fall is an amazing time to visit the tall grass prairie. That's when the grasses are at their tallest. But you can visit prairies any time of the year and find something wonderful to see.